Alright, so we're going to do a tutorial video today. It's the first time, so wish me luck. So we're going to do the ice nids, my daughter's ice nids. This is how we come up with the painting for them. I'm going to do one of the swarm bases and this termagant, or hormagant, I can't remember. So, sorry about the vocals, I'm on a headset right now. So the first thing I'll do is we're going to wash over everything. And this right here is Prussian blue. It's a watercolor wash that I thinned out. It's like it comes out as a paste, and I put it in my pot and I added water to it and whatnot, and I'll even thin it out more as I use it. But the models have been primed white and then base coated in a craft paint pool blue. It's the same color that I base coat my towel with as well, but it works really good for these ice nids. So there, I got the Prussian blue over there. Starts out, it's relatively thick. I mean, you can go straight on there that, and it just gives it a nice, deep, rich color, just like me. Huh. All right, and I'll start washing all over it, and I just do a complete wash. See, it's kind of thick there. I'll add a little bit of water to it here, and then thin it out just a hair. I don't want it too thick, but I don't want it too thin as well. I want it to really get in those recesses and give it that nice dark look to it. I apologize for this video is a little awkward. This is my first time doing it. I'm trying to figure out the best way to record them. I wouldn't mind doing more tutorials. I'm not a super awesome painter or anything, but if somebody asks how I did something, this is the easiest way to show them. So yeah, so I'll wash over the entire model, getting all them nook and crannies, and then I'll let that dry. So it gets it nice and dark. And that's gonna be that's the beginning tone of them. Oh, and here's that pool blue craft paint that I was talking about. That's what I use as the actual base coat. So, and then here is them completely washed and ready to go. That is the termagant. And then the Ripper Swarm. So, let's see, I got 4 more over there. I've done them all as 3s because I'm going to build up a lot of snow on the base. So I'll do a second video of that. I'll let those guys dry. Now here they are, good and dry, ready to work on. So we'll do the next step, and I always start with the skin of the critters. Do those first. Sorry. Pardon the cough. And then I do the carapaces last. I don't know why. It's probably easier if I did it the other way, but this is just how I've done it, and it's how I like doing it. So this is the main tone. It's an aquamarine craft paint. I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, craft paints, what are you doing? Oh, shame on you. And then Vallejo white. The Vallejo white's a little thicker, so I like it better than the craft paint white. But what I end up doing is, for the main tone of the skin, goes the aquamarine, and then I just lighten it up with the white, and I pretty much do it. It's like a 3-color fade for the most part. Start with aquamarine, then aquamarine and white, and then more white and less aquamarine. I don't have measurements like the amounts I do. I just do it by eye. To me, it's a lot easier that way. So I always just get a little water on my brush and then hit the paint. And then go to town. Now, I tried the camera, it's actually kind of hanging from my shirt a little bit. It's kind of awkward, really. I'm like I said, I'm not good at this. I don't see how y'all guys do it. Y'all must have awesome rigs and setups. That's something maybe I should work on one of these days if I'm going to continue doing this, which I'd like to. But I'm working over the camera and trying to paint. Right now I'm trying to paint through the camera. So, and it's a phone, so it's awkward trying to do that and see where I'm touching on the model, or sometimes not touching the model, wondering if I can get closer or not. It was definitely a crazy experience, let me tell you. But I got through it. So again, this is the first tone. This is just straight aquamarine out of the bottle. I get it laid on there nice and good. I'll go through all like the raised areas and brush it out a little bit more. Um, but make sure I don't go over too much of the wash. I don't want to lose that deep wash for all the recesses and crevices and stuff. So right there, I just kind of roll the paintbrush on my back of my hand a little bit to get a nice point, and then paint over it. So yeah, so I do that on both of them. And what I decided whenever I got to the Ripper swarms, such a tight, small area, and I don't have very good brushes. I just have just your standard regular old brushes. I figured the easiest way to do those guys was to do like a almost like a wet dry brush. If that makes sense. So here you're rolling the tip again. But I just go and I try to hit, especially on these guys, everything's so tight. Just try to hit the ridges, the high spots. So I got to the point later on. It's like I said, I do a straight dry brush of it. Just get it to where it's on those high points, and then just move on. I figure trying to get all too crazy in there and get in depth in the cracks and stuff, I'm just going to end up messing it up. So, but yeah, I'll do that over the whole thing, and then this is what you end up with, and that's with the first tone of aquamarine, and that kind of sets it as the beginning of it. The same on both of them, and then now I'll go through and I'll do the mix. I'll do like maybe a 50-50 aquamarine white mix as the next shade up. And I'd prefer to do it when it's still a little bit wet, so they kind of blend the two together, like get a real nice wet blending on it. But I was actually jumping from the Ripper Swarm to the Termagant, pausing the video, then painting the other ones off camera, and I just was like, this is too much, so I ended up just painting these two towards the end by themselves. But yeah, and here I go, same thing. I start on the high spots on these, and I just kind of barely whip them out. Well, when I can figure out if the brush is touching the model. So, but I do that, and that kind of just gives you another like highlight up. And then once I go to the final end stage of this, I will have pretty much, I would say 75 white, 25 or even less of the aquamarine. Almost a white with like a shade of aquamarine. Aquamarine. That word my lips does not want to say. So, I really enjoy painting these. And the story my daughter came up with was really cool. It was like this hive fleet taking over a planet of like kind of like Yeti monsters. Like they are pretty much ice monsters. And that was like the next evolution of this fleet, hive fleet, abominable. So, oh, and I finished that. That's that stage. Now I'm about to jump in here in a minute, and we'll do the next highlight up. So, but the way she said it is that they've formed like ice crystals in their veins, in their DNA, so they like are like an ice energy, like a frost energy. So that's why they've got the blue, and like a lot of them, I do the icicles hanging off of them, give them the snow bases and everything. So I really like it. She's really cool when we were talking about it. So like I may make a template for her for the bigger critters that fire template weapons, and do them looking like an ice blast, like a snowball blast coming out of it. I think it would look pretty cool. I'd like to try to get some of that crushed ice that I can't remember if it's Secret Weapon Minis sells it. Oh, right here I kind of show through and I go through the different shades. So I've got the true aquamarine, the second step, and then that is the lightest stage. And again, it's hard to do around the camera. I had a little bit too much on my brush, and I globbed that on there real good. But luckily, that's what fingers are for. So I kind of thin that out, roll it off, and then I go back and start doing some highlights. And really, this last stage is just barely the tips now. Just any edge that looks like it would see the most sun. I think as I get better at painting, I want to try to give them more almost ice-like skin texture. So, but this paint scheme is also pretty easy. My daughter can pick it up real well and jump right into it. So, for these guys, see with him done, he's done on that. And if for any reason something's a little bit too light, I'll go back with that wash like super thinned out and hit the recesses up again. So now we're gonna do the carapaces, and what I do on the carapaces is vermilion color, and then yeah, dark vermilion, and that brown. And what I'll do is I'll do the brown as the base tone, the cavalry brown as the base tone, and then I'll do lighten up a little bit again with the dark vermilion, and then by the final step it's literally just straight dark vermilion as the highlight colors on all the edges. So just begin like painting over all of it, getting that base tone down. And what I like to do, I'll do that, and depending on the size of the model, if it's a larger model, once I do like a base tone, I will go back and matte varnish it. And then after I matte varnish it, I'll let it dry, and then I'll go back in there and whip in the secondary tones and stuff. Just because I don't want to lose anything that's already on there. I normally probably would have done that on these since I had the bodies done already. But I'm one of those guys that's not afraid to spray varnish in the middle of a paint job and then go back over it. I've done it practically with all my models, and it has not once messed anything up. So yeah, I'll just go over the whole carapace with that, and then I'll come back and here I jumped right into the 3 stages. I went ahead and did those and got them done. So that's the edge highlighting with the straight true vermilion, the dark vermilion. So if you can see it closely, see if it's good enough, you can see the 3 tones in there. I even went back with white, like a true white on a really thin brush, and did the teeth. And here I try to show the progression of the colors, but it didn't work out. Everything was just a big mess back there. And then here's him. Went back and added little white highlights to the teeth and on his claws. And then I did a little yellow dot in the eyes. Can't see that really good on the camera. And this video is a little bit long, so I'm not going to sit there and try to put photos at the end of it. Because my plan is to have a second video where I'll do the bases. I'll show how to do the ice bases. And mainly for the Ripper Swarm. So I'll show you here in a minute when I pick them up. Is the Ripper Swarm, I'm going to do a lot of build up, maybe with like cotton balls and stuff. Have them kind of coming off of it, so most of that paint job that I colored is going to be gone. But I'm going to build that up and I put a snow effect on there so it looks like they're really jumping out. I hope you enjoyed, guys. Y'all take care.